Hello, my name is Ginger, whatever you would like, if you don't know who I am, and today we're doing something a bit different. So, I am doing my first ever challenge run, which is very exciting, in Final Fantasy X, and it's going to be a magic-only run. I'll go through a few things in just a second. However, the first thing I want to say is this video was, kind of came about. I was watching Dan's Go8 playthrough of like a low-level Omega Ruins one. Really fun. I'll put it down in the description. I'll include a few screenshots here. And he said to one of them, magic was really nerfed. I'd really like to do a magic only run. And I thought, you know what? I really like doing magic runs. I really like Final Fantasy X. I really want to do challenge. I think this will be really exciting. So I decided that, yeah, let's actually get on to it. So, I do want to say massive thank you to Dan Square. I do feel like I'm stealing his video and his video idea, so I really do apologise. But I will link him and give him full credit for this because he's the one that came up with the concept. And I do feel like I'm just stealing it. So this is my first ever experiment with doing shorter form content. If you want to watch the complete unedited versions, they are on my channel. But I'm just condensing it down and giving a little bit more edited things. This is the first edited thing that I'm actually going to upload to my channel, so it's very exciting. So if you leave any comments, I will have a look on there and kind of see what people say. So without any further ado, let's crack on. So let's get into the rules. Well, the first rule is no physical damage is allowed when we get a magic user. So all the way up until the point where we have Lulu, until we get Lulu, we can use physical damage, we can use overdrive, we can do anything. The run doesn't officially start until that point. So we can kind of do anything that we want. When we get Lulu, we are only allowed to use magic damage. Now, there are going to be instances at the beginning of the game anyway, where we aren't going to have Lulu, and she's not going to be available. In those instances, we will be allowed to use physical damage as well. The reason is because there is lots and lots of early fights and early boss fights, and we just don't have enough experience in Besaid to grind to get magic to be able to do them. And then even then, we still wouldn't have the MP to be able to handle dealing with the boss fight that has 2000 HP, that has, you know, a large amount of HP. So only magical damage is allowed when we get Lulu. Rule number 2 is no physical overdrives allowed. We're allowed to use any other overdrive we would like, so we can use Yuna's Grand Summon, we can use Kamari ones, Kamari's thing, whatever it's called, overdrive, that's the word. Thank you for giving me the word. Lulu can use any of her overdrives, and I'm allowing Riku to use hers only if she doesn't do damage with them. Because she's not magic, and she can't use magic. She can use Tree of 999, she can do anything on that as long as it does no direct damage to the enemies. We can do damage with the buffs from there, but it can't do damage itself. Rule number 3 is no damage dealing items are allowed. So healing items are allowed because they can remove silence, and if we have silence on all our characters, we can't do that. We will try and let it wear off first. I do panic a little bit when we first get given silence, but we try to allow it to wear off first. But we can use them to heal though, so we can use remedies and echo herbs, but we are not allowed to use damage dealing items. So when we steal an item like a grenade, we can't use them when we get our damage dealer. And when we got a magic user, we can't use any damage dealing items. So at the beginning we can, because the run doesn't start until we get access to Lulu, because she starts with black magic skills. So the fourth one, that was the third one. The fourth one is Aeons are allowed, but they can only use magic in normal fights. When we are fighting against an Aeon, these rules can be bent a little bit. We can attack, we can use magic, we can use their special attacks, we can use overdrives. But when they are just normal fights, when they are gaining the overdrive, we can use them, but they can only use magic. Now, we will only be really using them in the experience I've had so far. The only time I've been using Aeons is when we are, because obviously I've recorded some of this before, and then writing this like partway through, just so it's not revealing any spoilers. We tend to only use them to build up their overdrive, and I won't be showing those on camera because we will, but you've just got to trust me that we will just be using them magic based. I'm really serious about the challenge. It's the first challenge that I've ever done, so I'm very excited and really want to stick to these rules as close as I can. With Aeon versus Aeon, there is sometimes just not enough damage that we can do that will allow us to, and the MP as well, that they're not going to have enough MP and overdrives and all those things to actually deal that damage. So this is why we can bend the rules a little bit with Aeon versus Aeon, but with just normal fights where we're building the overdrive and doing all of that, we have to use magic because it is a magic only run. So that is the difference. Aeons are allowed, but they've got the same stipulations as we do. When it's Aeon versus Aeon, we can't fight, we can't bring our people into it, apart from Anima and Dark Aeons, but we are allowed to use normal attacks in those periods of time, just so we're clear. Just in case you do that, this is just to prevent problems happening in the future. I fully appreciate that I'll try first with just magic, but sometimes it's not plausible, so this is why the difference is, I'm articulating this difference now rather than when we have that encounter. The only encounters I've fought with Aeon versus Aeon has been Belgame's Aeons, and I've not used physical attacks in them, but it's just so we're all aware and we're all starting on the same page going forward. Okay. Rule number 5 is we are using the expert sphere grid. We are not using the standard sphere grid. This is just for self-preservation of the challenge, more so than anything else. So the reason why is twofold. The first thing is that we are allowing people to get magic early. So if you look at the standard sphere grid, and I might throw up a picture on board if I can find a good enough picture, or I'll show you. When you're on the standard sphere grid, you can't actually do anything. So when you go into Lulu's grid, you've got to have a level 1 or a level 2 key sphere in order to be able to access it and do that magic. Whereas on the expert sphere grid, you don't need to. You can swap them around a lot easier. So the first level 1 key sphere you will get is actually in the Mihen High Road. And so we are then delaying all our damage dealing essentially in all the way up to Mihen High Road. And that isn't, we could possibly do it, but again, it's just about trying to see that we're not here for 5 years. And then it allows the flexibility of going into Yuna's grid, then going into Lulu, back into Lulu's, and then going into Yuna's. It just allows a little bit more interesting vibe, rather than going just in our set paths until we hopefully run on someone else's grid. So that's the reason. It's going to be a lot of chopping and changing of people's things, which will go into when we have the people coming into our party. I'm not going to reveal all of it immediately, just because, you know, it's going to be a bit dull. So that is the main rules. The other rule is no glitches or exploits are allowed. We can grind, we can do all of that. There aren't many glitches in Final Fantasy X, in my experience, but in terms of massive skips or skipping boss fights, we're not doing that. We're not skipping anything. We are just playing the game from beginning, starting in Zanarkand, and finishing when we have destroyed Yu Yevon. That is what we're trying to do. We're not trying to do anything fancy. We're just trying to finish the game in a magic only run. I've never fought the Dark Aeons. We can maybe try with magic only. I don't think it's going to go particularly well, but we can definitely try. We can definitely see. So I am going to be my main aim though is just to finish the game, beat Yu Yevon with magic only, and go from there. So those are all the rules. So without any further ado, I think it's time that we should just start, right? Right, yeah, let's go. Are you excited? Maybe, hopefully, right, let's just go. Just so you're aware, and just for clarification, these rules are not set in stone. These are the ones we're starting with. We can bend them when things are needed. So you will see very early on that I do bend the rules a little bit. This is just, again, for self-preservation of the challenge, but I do kind of impose a penalty for that. So every time I deviate from the rules, we have to try and make it up in a certain way going forward. So, again, you'll see that a little bit more as we go through. We have to be a little bit more fluid with the challenge, because there are some things that just stop us from being able to do anything really. So you will see a little bit of self-preservation. I will signpost these way in advance and say the penalty that I've applied because of that. So don't worry, I am aware that it does sound hypocritical going saying these rules are set in stone. They have to be bent a little bit in certain areas, and I'll show you those in those instances as well. So yeah, cool, right, let's actually crack on with the challenge. I do apologize, I'll try not to do this all the time. So we start off the run with Titus being famous and signing his life away and talking to all his very devoted fans and flirting with a large amount of them. And then we race to the stadium, and while we're doing that, we can listen about how Daddy Jet died, and we can then talk to a woman and get some free potions. They're not going to be really this useful this early on, and we're not going to be using them particularly, because the time where we actually receive a lot of damage is going to be when we have a magic user to heal. But for now, if you want to grab them just for complete sakeness, you're more than welcome to. She's wearing pink, so she's making all the boys wink at her as she flashes something and gets free tickets. I don't know. I don't pay attention. So then we go to the Blitz arena, and we see a cutscene that makes me, for lack of a better term, moist. Then Orin comes, and he just looks like a Giga Chad as he just destroys the Sin Spawn in front of him, along with Titus, who's doing a job. And it's fine. We can use physical attacks. We can use overdrives. The run has not started yet. The run doesn't start until we get Lulu in the party. You destroy the Sin Spawn first, then you destroy the tanker. The Sin Spawn fight is actually quite interesting because it can't kill you. So Demi is a spell, for those of you who are new, that reduces your HP by 1/4 of what your HP is. And if you think of a quarter of 1, it goes to 0.25. When you round to the nearest 10, or in this case, whole number. So we'll nearly always round down, not round up. So it rounds in your favor. So when you have got 1 HP left, it will round to 0, and so Demi will do 0. So as long as you do damage with Orion's overdrive, which it kind of forces you to do, you should be able to get rid of all the sin spawn there, and then just have the Demi damage dealing sin spawn. So you won't ever die. You won't ever be massively punished for this. So just keep that in mind when you're playing it. It's worth not using a potion here because it's just wasting time. So when you have destroyed all the strands of hair that come from the top of the sin spawn, you are free to go to further on. So just make sure you heal at the save sphere and go on, and then eventually we will be able to arrive in Barge Temple. So you get to Barge Temple, and it's terrifying, and there's a cute bird there, and it's squawking away as you're screaming for help. So what we need to do is we need to head straight across. You can deviate and go a little bit to the sides, get some treasure chests, use the Albed Sphere. We're not doing that. We're doing it like it's a vanilla run. So go to the bridge, make sure you get all the treasures that are there. If you want to, you don't have to, they're not important. And then be ready to fight the things. So you fight the I don't even know how to pronounce them. They are the water creatures. When 2 happens, let's prepare to be a slab of meat, to be punched, to be tenderized, and ready to be swallowed. It's going to be a great time. So, you light the fire, you take a nap, and then get ready to be mauled. And then get an explosion happen halfway through to have a companion joining us. How exciting, how thrilling, how wonderful. Steal some grenades. They are going to be much useful later than right now. So steal some grenades and head to the ship after you've defeated the enemy and got attacked and dragged to the ship, but I'm assuming by your hair. We go to the ship. We are offered, we get taught the sphere grid, which will always teach you on the standard sphere grid, even if you've selected the other one. And it's not point grinding here. We're not going to get, like, all the piranhas give you 1 AP. They're not really a huge benefit to us at the moment. You can steal grenades from them, which I would advise to do. Makes the next boss fight a hell of a lot quicker. Although you can use them to explode the piranhas, and they do a lot more damage. Again, the run hasn't started. We have to rely on grenades. So go down and explore the ruins. And then eventually you will fight Tross. So Tross isn't that difficult, especially when you've got the mysterious person there for you. So just make sure that you've stolen enough grenades, and then you can just keep on doing throwing grenades at them. If you do run out, Tross does relinquish 1 to 3 grenades when you steal from him, and you can steal multiple times. When Tross swims away, you can still throw grenades at him, but if you have run out grenades or you don't know what to do, just defend, just to make sure that the attack that he's going to do next is lessened. Then what you can do is, if he swims away again, you can do pincer attack, although I found out we didn't really need to do that. We could just continue going along. It's not a difficult fight, it's nice and easy, so you shouldn't be worrying too much there. So we enter Besaid and we swim to the village with Waka. We grab a nap after visiting the temple. So when you awaken, go and do the trials, get through, but make sure we get the staff. So if you don't know how to do the staff, I will show you now. So we'll work through the trials together. You examine the glimpse at the start, and then this will open the passageway. It will talk to you about the glimpse. You get the glimpse sphere and you open the door at the bottom of the stairs. Take that glimpse sphere out of the door, and then when you are walking around the passageway on your left, there's a little place to insert a sphere grid. Put the glimpse sphere in there. Go a little bit further forward without taking the destruction sphere, and remove the Besaid sphere out of the room with many lights and lines. It's great. Take the Besaid sphere and put it into the pedestal as you push it forward to remove the barrier. Head back and grab that destruction sphere, slam it in the room with lots of lines. It will illuminate one line, which will explode a room to the left of the light room as you're looking in. Grab this. This is the Rod of Wisdom, and it is one of the best weapons for you in an early game, and also till mid-game. The reason why is it gives you magic +3, magic +5, and sensor. Sensor is useful, but it's not entirely impactful this early on. What we're mainly going for is the magic +5 and +3. When she starts to be your magic user, this will really help. And when she's healing as well, this will really help. So it just kind of oomps it up a little bit and just makes it a little bit more impactful. At the end of the day, 5% isn't a lot. It doesn't really actually have much effect until we have over, you know, a certain threshold, because it will nearly always be round down. So let's say she starts with 20 magic, which is quite accurate, I believe. So 20 divided by 100 is 0.2. Times that by 5, it's 1. So it's 1 extra magic. So again, it's not impactful this early on, but it will be impactful later down the line. So it's just going to grow in strength as we grow in magic as well. So then go down into the trial person thing, yeah, and greet the guardians, greet the summoner, and then see Veilfor arrive. Veilfor is actually really cute. Not cute as in like, oh my god, Grinder cute. Like cute as in genuinely like adorable. Like I just think he's the nicest. I think he's the gentlest Aeon out of all of them. I think all of the rest of them are a little bit more harsh. I think Veilfor is very gentle and caring. It's cute. I don't know. I just like it. So, after a few practice fights where we learn the benefits of attacking, which we'll never do again, it's the second fight where you get access to Lulu. Lulu will teach you the basics of elements. She'll teach you about that fire and ice are opposed, as are water and thunder. So it's very appropriate. And now we're just going to head forward. So we do have Kamari. The run hasn't started yet because we've got Kamari. And there are more, what's the word? Tutorial fights. That's the word. Thank you for telling me again. So there are tutorial fights going afterwards as well. So just finish all the tutorial fights. You're going to face against 2 Garudas. One is going to be with using a summon, which you can dismiss straight away, or you can just fight with magic, which is what I did in this instance. And then the other one, you have to use dark attack. The run has now started. Yay! There is going to be another tutorial, a couple more tutorial fights later down the line, so we are going to be showing them, but for now, it is all, all the tutorial fights are done for now, so that's very, very exciting. So now let's talk about where we're going to take these people, where we're going to go with the sphere grids for all these people, which we will do in the next episode. This is the first time I've done an edited video that I'm publishing, so I'm very excited / nervous about it. So we are going to end it like we usually do in just a moment, but if you've got any questions, any concerns, any thoughts, protests, opinion pieces, mandates, whatever, if you would love to comment on those, I will be reading these with bated breath. It's very exciting to publish this, and also kind of nervous. I'm kind of nervous about it. So let me know where you think I'm going to struggle, where you think I'm going to succeed. If you would do this run, have you done this run? How successful was it? What do you think of so far? Where do you think I should take each of the characters? I've recorded that already, so I'm not gonna go back and change it now. But I would very much love to hear your opinions down in the comments. In terms of like future videos, they are going to be less and less setup-y. This is a very setup-y video because Final Fantasy X is very slow at the start. So if you are someone who is thought this was a bit long-winded and a bit story-heavy, it was. We are going to be a little bit more direct and to the point and fast, and we are going to accelerate it going forward. But I kind of wanted the first video to be very setup-heavy as well, just so we know the rules and all of that sort of things. So, yeah, I do apologize about about it, and hopefully we're going to be like getting better at editing as we go forward. Maybe an editing master by the end of it. I mean, probably not, but I can dream. So we're going to end this video like I'd end most videos. So I'm going to say that thank you for watching. My name has been That One Dude. You've been watching me do an edited thing for Final Fantasy X Magic Only. If you enjoyed, I'm so glad you did, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.